Welcome back sa aking channel. Narito naman tayo para sa pinakabagong balita mula sa mundo ng politika. Isang biglaang pahayag na kinagulat ng publiko, inilahad ni Secretary Remulla Inamin Sabwatan nila ni Kuting. Ang misteryosong individual na matagal nang inuugnay sa iba't ibang kabalbalang nagdulot ng tensyon sa kanilang ahensya. Ayon sa kanya, oras na raw upang ilantad ang buong detalye bago pa man siya tuluyang mamaalam sa posisyong kanyang kinabibilangan. Bagamat hindi malinaw ang kabuuang konteksto, nagdulot ito ng matinding usapin at haka-haka sa social media. Sa gitna ng press briefing, nilarawan ni Remulla na ang kanyang ugnay kay Kuting ay nagsimula umano sa isang simpleng pagkakamali na kalaunan ay lumaki sa napasubok ng elemento na nagdulot ng kalituhan sa publiko. Inamin niya nagkaroon sila ng ilang desisyong hindi nagbunga ng magandang result at ang ilan dito ay naging basya ng lumalabas na kontrobersyang nagpapainit ng diskusyon sa publiko. Gayunpaman, iginiginit niyang handa siyang harapin ng anumang investigasyon na isinasagawa. Walang nanatiling tahimik si Kuting hingil sa mga pahayag ni Remulla at patuloy namang hinihintay ng publiko ang magiging tugon nito. Inaasahan din maglalabas ng opisyal na pahayag ang mga kinauukulang opisina upang linawin ang mga aligasyong kumakalat. Sa ngayon, patuloy na nakatutok ang taong bayan kung ano ang tunay na kwento sa likod ng kontrobersyang ito at kung ano ang posibleng kinahinatnan ng biglaang pag-amin ng opisyal. Manatili kayong nakatutok dito sa aking channel. Sa bawat pag-ikot ng kaganapan, kami ang iyong magiging sandigan sa walang kinikilingang impormasyon. Huwag kalimutan i-like, share at subscribe para laging updated sa mainit na balita mula sa mundo ng politika.
Ulit ng mga pagtapos ko na po yung anak ko sa kolehiyo.
Sir,
bumalik na ho tayo.
July pa raw po pending ito sa Senate Electoral Tribunal, yung warrant of petition laban sa inyo. Gumalaw na ba yung petition? Or ano ba? Nagsabit na kayo ng inyong depensa?
Nakaready naman po kami. Ang problema ho kasi marami po mga issues po, di po ba? Nagkaroon pa po ng change of leadership dyan, kaya hindi na ho naasikaso. So, maghihiring po yung unang committee po. Bigla nagkaroon po ng change of leadership, di po ba?
Opo.
Pagkatapos, napatong na, dumating na po itong issue ngayon ng graft and corruption, itong corruption po.
Kinakabahan na to kasi si Marcoleta nandito sa sa Senado. Si Marcoleta, di ba? Tapos si Cayetano kasama siya sa sa tribunal.
So hindi na natabunan na. Gusto ko nga po matalakay na ho agad yan, pero inaasahan ho namin ng abogado ko na baka umakyat pa po sa Supreme Court. At pagkatapos baka dalhin pa po sa International Court. Hindi ko na ho alam kung saan pa niya dadalhin ho yan.
Halata, alam niya. Alam niya mga kareasyon, naakyat daw sa Supreme Court at International Court. Mahilig sila sa International Court, no? Katulad ng ginawa nila sa Pangulong Duterte, dinala sa International Court. Araw-araw mo na, Erwin, huwag ka magalala, malapit-lapit naman yan. Hindi ka matatapos sa 6 years.
ICI, dadalhin niya rin po yan.
Hindi ba nakaka-apekto ito sa trabaho ninyo, Senador? Hindi ba distraction ito, kumbaga?
Naintindi ko na lang, Sir Joel. Siguro pang-content po yan dahil nung nagandahan ho yata siya dahil unang bulusok po niya. Dahil yan po ay disbarred na lawyer na po yan. Dati pong kasamahan din nandun sa media. Nakasama ko pa yan sa People's Journal. At dati pong official po yan ng PBBM. Talagang mainit lang siguro talagang ulo niya sa administrasyong Marcos at kaalyado po tayo. Ayan ho, nung final niya ho yan, nung unang sa sigwada niya po, pagpahal niya ng kaso, mataas po yung views niya sa YouTube. Banat siya ng banat. Siguro lumaki yung kita niya. Pangalawa, ganun din ho. So, tumaas din ho kanya mga viewers, mga followers. So, hindi ko rin ho siya masisi. Siguro kung pang-content niya ho,
Hindi pang-content. Huwag mo sasabihin pang-content. Tulpo, Erwin, Erich, inayupak ka. Hindi, yung inayupak kasi galing sa kanya yun. Di ba sinabi mo yung inayupak nung eleksyon? Nagtataka sila tinatawag kitang inayupak kasi galing sa bibig mo yan, inayupak ka, yung salitang inayupak. Binabalik ko lang sa'yo. Mga karelasyon itong si Erwin, American citizen to, nagsisinungaling. Paano hindi siya American citizen? Hindi nga siya na-approve dyan sa may DSWD eh. Diba, ibig sabihin, American citizen to.
tulong ako sa kanyang hanap buhay.
Pero Senator,
pustahan tayo, Eriso. Kapag hindi ka American citizen, suntukan tayo. Suntukan tayo. Diyan sa Senado, diyan tayo suntukan, tali man na nakatali yung kamay mo ha, tsaka nakapiring ka. Hindi kita lalabanan ng walang tali tsaka piring. Hindi kita kaya. May kapatid ka dyan eh. May kapatid ka eh. Pagtulungan pa ninyo ako.
Mabigat kasi yung kawaran to eh. Pag ito napagbigyan, it's as if hindi ka naging senador, hindi ka nanalo, di ba? Kayo ba?
Ganun pala yung kawaran to. Kapag napagbigyan daw yan, as if hindi ka nanalo at hindi ka naging senador, sakit po na mga kareaksyon.
Ganun din ho. So, tumaas din ho kanya mga viewers, mga followers. So, hindi ko rin ho siya masisi. Siguro kung ang content niya ho, nakakatulong ako sa kanyang hanap buhay.
Pero Senator, mabigat kasi yung kawaran to eh. Pag ito napagbigyan, it's as if hindi ka naging senador, hindi ka nanalo, di ba? Kayo ba kung ito po ay paulit-ulit na ginagawa sa inyo, wala po kayong legal move na gagawin?
Tingnan, pag-aaralan po namin ng lawyers ko, hindi ko natin pinapansin ho. Kasi alam ko parang to the point harassment na ho yan.
Di ba harassment daw? Harassment kayo? Harassment? Di ba convicted ka, libel?
Hindi naman po tayo mag-file. Pero sa halip po na paggugulang ko ng pansin at ang panahon,
Hindi ka pwede kasi nga, public official ka, pwede ka na namin scrutinize. Lumabas sa bibig mo yung inayupa, kaya binabalik ko sa'yo, inayupa ka.
Ika nga pag-file ng kaso ng harassment. Hindi ko na lang po i-google ang panahon ko sa pagtatrabaho sa Senado.
Mas maigi pa ho.
Marami pong problema. Kagaya po sa aking pong committee na lamang, dalawa po ang aking committee. Yung social justice welfare po, binibilisan na po natin.
Social justice? Social justice, bending the law? TNT sa Amerika? Bakit TNT bawal yun eh? Paglabag sa batas yun eh.
Pagbibigay po ng ayuda. Kasi po, ngayon pa, pag humingi ka ng ayuda, ang dami, sangkaterba po ang katakot-takot na requirements ang hinihingi po, lalo sa mga hospitalization. Yan po minamadali natin. Ako po pwede, ID na lamang po at saka billing ng hospital o ng punerarya, yun na lang po isasubmit mo. Yun po yung minamadali natin.
Yung kanyang panukalang batas, talagang malapit na malapit sa sikmura ng mga magnanakaw.
Isa nga yung pagbibigay po ng ayuda na social services sa mga mahirap. Pangalawa po, minamadali rin po natin yung retirement pension po ng mga OFW sa abroad po. Minamadali na rin po natin yan. Marami po tayong mga issues na gusto ko po. Tapos pangatlo po, meron po tayo yung sa online gambling po na kailangang pagdesisyonan. So, sali po na pagtuunan ko yung pansin, kausapin ko ang abogado ko, magipag-meeting po ako sa kanya para pag-file ng harassment case laban sa taong ito. Ba't di ko na lang po gugulin yung oras ko po para sa marami po pong bagay na mas makakatulong po sa maraming Pilipino kaysa po sa sarili ko.
Naintindihan po namin yan. Senator, mag-iingat ka. Salamat sa oras mo. Thank you.
Sir, thank you.
Maraming salamat po muli. Magandang
Yan po, si Bending Dalo, tulpo. Hindi niya madire-diretso. Nagtatrabaho daw siya sa gobyerno. Naging sundalo eh. Paano ka nagtrabaho sa gobyerno kung hindi ka US citizen? Mahuli ka. Parang hindi ka rin naging senador.
Isa lang ang mensahe ni Senate President Pro Tempore Panfilo Lacson kay late Representative Martin Romualdez at dating Congressman Saldi Co. Kung walang tinatago, humarap sa pagdinig ng voluntaryo at sa kanyang inaasahang comeback sa Blue Ribbon Committee. Di lang flood control scandal ang kanyang sisilipin. Narito ang agenda report ni Hannah T.
Nako, hindi lang flood control siya. Skandal sisilipin. Si Pinky naman! Yung nga lang flood control, hindi nyo maayos-ayos eh. Dadamihan pa ninyo. Tapos kung talagang si Tambi pupunta na Senado. Ano na naman ang script natin, Pinky? Ano naman ang bagong script? Ang pagbabalik ni Pinky ganoon. Takot na takot ka kay Marcoleta. Wala kang bayad kay Marcoleta? May bayad ka ba? Tawagan ko siya, si Miriam. Yung tagaluto ko ng Hello, Miriam. Oh, luto na ba yung luto na? Yung bulalo. Di ba si Remulla naghanap siya ng mga buto-buto dun sa Bataan Lake, hindi na tumigil na, hindi na mabenta. Anong mabenta ngayon? Mabenta ngayon kay Remulla sino ba yung mabenta? Si Villanueva. Oh, mamaya pag-usapan namin yun yung si Martires. Tatawagan ko si Martires mamaya. Mag-uusap kami patungkol kay Villanueva. Hindi na mabenta yung bulalo doon sa Taal Lake. O ngayon, ang pinagtitripan niya si Villanueva na. O sige, bye, love you. Nanang po ang kausap doon. Game!
Inuudyok na si former House Speaker Martin Romualdez na voluntaryong lumitaw sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearings. Sabi ni Senate President Pro Tempore Panfilo Lacson sa Agenda Weekend ng Bilyonaryo News Channel, kung hindi naman daw totoo ang naging cash deliveries sa kanyang bahay kaugnay ng infra projects, dapat magkusa na lang siyang sumipot.
Kung solid naman ang kanyang depensa sa parte na yon, sa aspeto na yon, na yung pagdi-deliver na di umano ay hindi pwedeng mangyari o imposible mangyari kasi under construction yung bahay.
Binunyag ng surprise witness na si Orly Guteza na siya mismo ang nag-deliver ng higit kumulang 46 na luggage. May laman daw itong kickback na hindi bababa sa 40 million pesos each sa bahay ni Romualdez at dating Representative Zaldico. Yan ay mula 2024 hanggang ngayong taon. Para kay Lacson, mas maganda kung may daladala ring pruweba si Romualdez para pasinungalingan ito.
Kung meron na itabing logbook, nakatabing logbook do sa house under construction, mas magandang dalhin niya para mapatotohanan niya na hindi na walang dumating doon ng mga sasakyan.
Hindi pa raw.
Ikaw naman, Pinky. Kahit na nga tinatayo yung bahay, tinatayo pa lang, pwede naman magdala eh. Diba, baka naman na ginawa nila yun, o kunyari pinare-renovate natin ng bahay. Tapos may mga bumabagsak na maleta dito, okay? Yun ang ano natin, yun ang script natin, ganon. Ikaw naman, Pinky, logbook. Ang usapan dito, nagdala si Gutesa. Merong buhay na patotoo.
Sila nagkakausap ni Romualdez at humihingi na rin siya ng tulong kay Senate President Tito Soto para makipag-ugnayan sa dating House Speaker. Nangyari na rin ito nung si Lacson pa ang chairman ng Senate Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs nang madawit ang pangalan ni nooy Representative Ching Veloso sa illegal drug trade sa panahon ng Duterte administration. Doon, nabigyan ng pagkakataon si Veloso makapagsalita. Sinusubukan pa naming makakuha ng pahayag mula kay Romualdez. Sa ngayon, wala pa siyang sagot sa amin. Pagdating kay Ko, hindi pa raw alam ni Lacson kung nasan siya, pero lumalakas na ang panawagang i-cancel ang kanyang passport. Wala pang jurisdiction ng korte tungkol dito, pero may legal opinion na pwedeng maghain ng petisyon para sa kanyang passport cancellation.
Halimbawa, DPWH or Ombudsman or DOJ ay magpadala ng request or petition sa korte para mag-issue ng order na i-cancela yung kanyang passport bilang pangunang hakbang.
Sakaling hindi pa rin sumipot si Ko sa mga susunod na Blue Ribbon hearing, pwede siyang makontempt at tuluyang hainan ng arrest warrant. Pagpapaliwanagin din ni Lacson si Guteza tungkol sa credibility niya bilang witness. Lalo na't natuklasan ng Manila RTC na hindi umano real signature ng isang notary lawyer ang nasa salaysay niya. Si Guteza ay pinakilala ni Senator Rodante Marcoleta sa hearing na ipinakilala umano ni dating Representative Mike Defensor. Sa ngayon, suportado raw ng Senate Majority ang pagbabalik niya bilang Blue Ribbon Chair matapos mag-resign earlier this month. Una nang sinabi ni Soto na hindi lang flood control ang tututukan ng Blue Ribbon, kundi pati ibang infra projects sa iba't ibang mga ahensya. Pabor si Lacson na tapyasan ang budget ng DPWH para sa 2026 dahil malinaw din daw sa mismong testimonies ng dating DPWH officials na ino-overprice talaga nila ang mga proyekto.
Dapat talaga tingnan mabuti at yung standard na presyo ang dapat pagbatayan, hindi yung kung ano yung dinikta ng mga district engineer o regional director ng DPWH.
Pagdating naman sa ginawang pagsalaula umano sa national budget, balak din itakol ni Lacson sa Blue Ribbon ang technical malversation na ginawa umano ni Henry Alcantara. Ito ang pagpapalit ng line item sa national budget at nadawit doon si Senator Joel Villanueva. Humiling daw noon si Villanueva ng multipurpose building pero napalitan ng 600 million peso worth of flood control nang hindi alam ng TESDAMAN. Una na ring pinabulaanan ni Villanueva ang mga akusasyon. Sa November 14, magpapahiring si Lacson sa oras na ma-formalize na ang kanyang election ulit bilang Blue Ribbon Chair. Hinihiling ni Lacson ang mas smooth na budget deliberations para sa 2026. Masakit man daw ang mga natuklasan sa budget, naging daan naman ito para magbusisi ang publiko at mag-imbestiga sa mga kawani ng gobyerno. Para sa agenda, Hannah T., Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Isa lang ang mensahe ni Senate President Pro
Naku po mga ka-reaction. Hindi na po nila alam ang gagawin nila, paano nila iligaw ang usapan. Wala na, Popo Marcos, bumaba ka na. Wala na, tapos na. si Remulla. Remulla, makinig ka dito ha. Papahiya ka ni pare kong Martires. Dapat tumakbong senador si Martires, ano?
Welcome back. You're watching The Spokes. 3 ombudsmen, 3 opinions, and 1 senator at the centerpiece of a dismissal order.
Naku,
To share his personal insights on the reversal of the dismissal order of Senator Joel Villanueva, former Ombudsman Samuel Martires. Good morning, Sir Sam.
Good morning. Good morning, Sir. Colonel Sherda.
naku, yan
The
na.
discussion is former Senate President
Makinig ka, Remulla, wag ka tatanga-tanga ha. Makinig ka dito. Tatanga-tanga ka kasi eh.
Franklin Drilon, or how I call him is FMD. Good morning, Senator Frank.
Good morning, Edwin. Thank you for inviting me here. Thank you, Trixie.
Thank you, sir, for being here.
So basically, what we're looking at, Justice Martis, we'll call you Justice, or more familiar calling
Sammy. I
Sammy.
would prefer to be called Sam.
Justice Sammy. Yung mga katwiran po nung inyong dismissal, I think are fairly plain. No? Essentially, can you just reiterate the grounds for the dismissal of, or the reversal of the decision of Justice CHICKA Morales?
From the very start, Senator Joel Villanueva has already raised the defense that the one who requested for the PDAF is the Buhay Party List.
Right.
And the signature in the Buhay Party List letter is per the findings of the National Bureau of Investigation, a forged signature, not the same signature as the one of Joel Villanueva. These defenses were disregarded by then Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales. The decision of Carpio Morales came about towards the last week of October
In 2018.
in 2016.
2016, right.
2016. When I was appointed in 2018, after an inventor of the cases, I found out that there was this pending motion for reconsideration. So I requested the bureau concerned to immediately act on that motion for reconsideration.
Yun.
They endorsed to me sometime in July of 31 of 2019.
Right.
On September 13, I approved the recommendation of the Bureau to dismiss or to grant the motion for reconsideration of Joel Villanueva.
The first question, Justice Sammy, was that when was the motion for reconsideration filed? I heard you in one interview, you mentioned that you assumed that it was timely filed. But would you have an exact date when the motion for reconsideration was filed by Senator Joel Villanueva?
I was told and sent a copy actually by the first page of the motion for of the resolution. It appears that Joel Villanueva filed his motion for reconsideration within the 10-day period to file a motion for reconsideration. Because there are 2 periods in the Ombudsman. 5 days when it comes to criminal cases and 10 days when it comes to administrative cases.
And this is an administrative case?
This is an administrative case.
Senator Dillon, you've gone through this. You've been a senator for so long. So how do you view the whole...
Well, firstly, I haven't seen the decisions, and therefore, if I comment, it is only on the jurisdiction of the Ombudsman. Yes. It is very clear that under our Constitution and the Ombudsman Act, the Ombudsman has no jurisdiction over members of Congress. You may not like that rule, but that's the rule in our Constitution, that members of Congress can only be questioned in the Senate or in the House.
What are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
I am not suggesting anything. That's the reason why the Senate at the time did not favorably act on the recommendation or on the dismissal order, because the legal counsel of the Senate in a memo said that they have no jurisdiction over senators. And I think Tito Soto was then the majority leader and brought this before the plenary. And indeed, as a lawyer, when I was reading the Constitution, really, the Ombudsman has no jurisdiction over senators and Congress. Having said that, it is clear that the Senate has not acted on this. The issue has not been brought to the Senate on the merits as to whether or not there is a basis for the malfeasance charge of Villanueva. Sad to say, we are not bound. I mean, that's really sad. But we are not bound by what the Ombudsman says. We have our own proceedings. A case can be filed before the Senate today. As Justice Carpio said, there is no, Tony Carpio, there is no prescription insofar as the grounds are insofar as the Senate is concerned. Now, the issue as to whether or not, these offenses were committed allegedly during the time that Senator Villanueva was still a congressman.
Right.
And therefore, it can be asserted that having been elected as a senator, the alleged offenses committed before he became a member of the Senate was abolished by the fact of his election to the Senate. This is the Aguinaldo Doctrine,
which has been
vacated.
Yes.
And for the benefit of our audience, Aguinaldo pertains to Governor Aguinaldo of Cagayan,
That's right.
who was subject of a disciplinary action, but raised the issue of his having been re-elected as governor of Cagayan. And the court, in the first line of cases, said yes, that's why there is the so-called Aguinaldo Doctrine, but which subsequently was vacated. So now the issue is the question: can somebody bring a case against Joel on the basis of the incident? My answer is yes. The issue of whether or not the Aguinaldo Doctrine is still applicable is a matter that would be put on the table. But the decision will be up to the Senate. And they will be deciding on the basis of the case filed directly in the Senate and the evidence presented in the Senate, but not on the basis of the Ombudsman's decision. Because, correctly, the Ombudsman, with all due respect, has no jurisdiction over senators and
Agreed. Just to clarify, Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales sent a copy of the decision to the Senate in 2016, to which the Senate replied that they have no jurisdiction.
I mean, that Ombudsman has no jurisdiction.
Yes, the Ombudsman does not have jurisdiction, and therefore no further discussions on the case were conducted.
That's correct.
So if the case were again brought up, wouldn't Senator Villanueva just simply raise the same issue of jurisdiction?
No, because now what will be discussed will be the merits of the malfeasance. The jurisdiction will no longer be questioned.
Yes.
I repeat,
I agree.
the reason why the Senate did not implement Conchita Carpio Morales' decision, even if it was correct, the reason why we did not act on it is because of lack of jurisdiction. And the four of us here are lawyers. No matter how brilliant or good you are, if the court has no jurisdiction, the court has no jurisdiction. Period.
Yes,
But just to be clear, but the acts were committed when he was still a member of Congress.
That's right.
Specifically the House of Representatives.
That's right.
Now you're taking jurisdiction because he's already a senator, but the acts were committed when he was House. Are you still saying that you can invoke
I am not
jurisdiction?
saying that. What I'm just saying is it can be litigated before the Senate as a body. Initially with the Committee on Ethics, and the arguments be raised in the Senate as to whether or not he is still liable for the acts committed while he was a congressman, on the basis of the Aguinaldo Doctrine, and whoever will find a case against him will argue that the Aguinaldo Doctrine is no longer applicable. All I'm saying is that the case of Villanueva can be tried on the merits in the Senate. It has never been tried there. Now, the merits include the matter of whether or not the Aguinaldo Doctrine applies. That's basically what will happen. So that the issue of whether or not the Ombudsman had jurisdiction or has jurisdiction is a settled issue. In other words, the Ombudsman has no jurisdiction, but the Senate as a body has jurisdiction under the Constitution and under the Constitution over members of Congress.
Sir Sam, what is this matter of a secret decision? Is there such a thing as a secret decision? I mean, we all know that there are certain decisions that are published. The Supreme Court publishes its decisions.
All decisions are published. That's certain.
No, but there are also minute resolutions, Justice Sami.
Yes.
Which are not. Those are the. I think I remember Justice Sami saying in his statement that there are Supreme Court decisions that are not published. Tama ba?
Yes.
Unpublished.
Unpublished. And I think you are referring to minute resolutions po ba?
Not just minute resolutions. Not all decisions of the Supreme Court goes into the ESCRA or the Philippine reports.
Yes.
Or are published in ESCRA.
But doesn't mean that if it doesn't go to the ESCRA or to the SCRA, it's not public. I mean, the publication is through SCRA and through, but I think all decisions are published in the General Records or GR.
Yes, in the GR.
Yes.
So how I think the first person to describe it as secret was either Ombudsman Boy or the other.
Actually, what really happened is in the chronology of events, Ombudsman Remulla was saying that he will request the Senate President to implement the dismissal order issued by Carpio Morales.
And this was because he didn't know that there was already an existing reversal order.
But then when somebody told him that that order was already reversed in a motion for reconsideration that was granted by Ombudsman Martires, he suddenly shifted and said, that is a surprise or a secret decision that just saw on my table. Of all cases, this is the only decision that fell on his table. There are other decisions that I issued, that I signed, that didn't fall on his table. And besides, if just the motion for reconsideration was given to him, why didn't he ask the records of the case from the Central Records Division? Why must he say that there is a secret decision? That is the reason why I am actually becoming violent in my talks, in what I say, because it connotes that an anomaly or irregularity was created. If Father said the only ones who knew about the resolution of the Ombudsman is Ombudsman Martires and
Teka lang, mahaba na po, hindi ko pa natatranslate, no? Umabot na tayo ng ilang minuto, hindi ko pa natatranslate, oh. Natatranslate ko muna mga kareaksyon. Ang sabi niya, oy, Remulla, umayos ka. Na-operahan ka na sa puso, pero nagkaroon ka pa ng leukemia. O, di ba? Mag-ano ka na, mag-relax ka na lang, Remulla. Sabi, yun na naintindihan ko, mag-relax ka na lang. Enjoy mo na lang yung buhay mo. Nag-enjoy ka ngayon? Oo, okay. Nag-enjoy pala siya ngayon, eh.
Well, Villanueva, that is not true. That is an insult on the investigating officer who made the recommendation to her director, who likewise recommended that to the assistant ombudsman before they forwarded it to the office of the ombudsman.
Okay, medyo umiinit na si Justice Sami, medyo ano siya, no? Kita mo yung kanyang vigor. And I saw FMD also put out his ballpen. Talagang magkakaroon tayo ng magandang pag-uusap. So, we'll take a break first. The spokes will come up later. So there's a clear demarcation between people and public officials po. So medyo parang may inversion po nung idea, the definition of people doon eh.
Well, people would refer people as a whole.
Right.
But we're talking here of the fight against graft and corruption.
Right.
So we have to protect the people from corrupt government officials.
Correct.
Okay? So yun ang sinasabi ko. But in my own context, I just don't have to protect the rights of the people, the complainants. I also have to protect the rights of the respondent.
But the rights of the respondent are already covered by the due process. I mean,
Yes.
as an ombudsman, you have to ensure that due process notice, lahat po ng
Yes,
kailangan sa
yes.
due process are already there. So,
Yes.
Once you've made sure that the process was fair, that due process already satisfied.
Actually, I made that statement in relation to the question that why am I not publicizing? Why am I not talking about it? Why should I talk about a case where I am not sure whether on the guilt of the accused? Remember that our role is only to determine probable cause for purposes of filing an information.
But this was a reversal. This wasn't the case going further to the Sandigan Bayan. So my question is, for instance, me, if somebody's case was reversed, I should be happy, and there shouldn't be any reason why you should not release. Because I recall, in the case of Secretary Jun Abaya, it was a decision that you made under your administration, under your term as ombudsman in November 2020.
Yes.
It came out in January 12 of 2021. In fact, because I knew it because Jun Abaya told me that, and it was published also, media carried that news here. None of the media was able to catch it. You've already dismissed, reversed the decision. That's my discomfort because, on one hand, you release the reversal order of Junabaya. In this case, you did not publish the reversal order of Senator Joel Villanueva.
No, in the case of Abaya, I did not have it published.
But it was reported in the news.
It was the reporters who got a copy of the decision.
Correct.
In the case of Villanueva, I was asked actually by the Media Bureau, are we going to publish this? I said, no.
Why not?
Why not? If I publish it, if I talk about it, sasabihin ng tao, kinakatigan ko si Joel Villanueva. Okay? Kinakampihan ko si Joel Villanueva. At the time I signed, I approved that resolution,
Yes.
granting the motion for reconsideration, hindi ko kilala si Joel Villanueva. The first time I met him was in the Senate during the budget hearing. I don't know Joel Villanueva. Kaya lang, pag binigyan ng kulay, di ba? In much the same way ngayon, yung secret decision, binigyan ng kulay eh. But haven't you noticed that I am now the flavor of the month? And the flavor of the month before was flood control projects, ghost projects. Nakalimutan na natin yon. The flavor of the month was the trillion peso march. Nakalimutan na ng tao.
Hindi pa naman po.
So is this not a way to divert the attention of the people? You know?
Senator Drilon,
What?
your thoughts, kasi nakangiti kayo kanina eh.
Which part?
Flood control.
May notes ka pa nga dyan, no?
You know, we want to talk about flood control? My goodness gracious. You know, it's the worst corruption episode that I have heard in my life, and I never saw this in my 24 years in the Senate, nor in my 34 years in public service. Talagang garapal na. And I guess the question that would be asked is, how did we get here? How did we get to this situation where the corruption was so widespread from Tawi-Tawi to the north, you know? And to me, very simple, I mean, it's simple, but it has developed, what we have developed is a culture of impunity. Wala na pong takot ang tao sa batas eh. And while we love to say, we lawyers love to say, rule of law, today, the rule of law is only a suggestion.
Oh.
Baka naman nabag sa batas yan.
Like traffic
It's no
lights.
longer an issue of you following the law strictly, but because the suggestion is that is the rule of law. And to me, I'm very disturbed. And the lack of respect for the law is a result of what we have today. Our pillars of justice are very weak. The institutions that are supposed to exact accountability are weakened. So these to me, prosecution, investigation, adjudication, punishment, and even society. Oh, just the last one, Heto, in our last hearing, I was invited by the Committee on Justice in the Senate to talk about the ICI. On that same day, the office of the DPWH was burned. So what do you think was on the headline the following day? It is not what we said in the ICI hearing on the jurisdiction, etc., but the burning of the DPWH building. This is what disturbs me also. So that's why I'm saying everybody bears the blame, and everybody should take a second look, should look back and see why did we get to this? Why did